Welcome back, everybody. This is Todd Sylvester with the Todd Sylvester Inspires Belief Cast. Thank you once again for joining us. I have an amazing guest on today. Her name's Annie Smith. Welcome, Annie.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. I want to give a little bit of a shout out to our sponsor, Veracity Networks. Thank you for supporting this and sponsoring me. And I also want to give a shout out to Paul Cardall. The music that you're hearing now, and you'll hear at the end of the podcast, he has given me permission to use his music, and he's amazing. And I just want to give him a little shout out. A little background on Annie. She's a wife to Jeremy and a mother to their combined total soon to be 9 children. Wow, that's a big family. I love it. She has a nonprofit called #Fly, which we're going to know more about here. But she explains that her life purpose is to help women who have lost their way due to abuse. Sometimes trauma can be so severe that there is a disconnect that occurs in the brain that causes women to become unrecognizable to themselves in the mirror. And Annie has a very unique way of actually helping these women connect. And we're going to talk more about that. Her passion for helping abuse survivors stems from her being a survivor herself, and she's going to share some of that with us today. So I'm just so excited to have her on, and I know many of you have probably been through similar trauma, and or you know someone that has, and this story is going to be one that is going to help, and I can't wait to get the word out. So welcome, Annie.
Thank you.
You bet. So why don't you give us a little background? Tell us a little bit about your family and kind of where you grew up.
Okay, so I grew up in Salt Lake, the border of West Valley and Salt Lake here in Utah.
Right on.
And I grew up with 6 brothers and in a very loving home. Yes.
Were you the youngest? Or?
I was right in the middle.
Right
so
in the
3
middle.
older and 3 younger. So just spot, my parents,
Right.
they just kept trying to give me a sister and it just didn't work out.
Didn't happen.
Just lots of brothers.
Right on.
So, but we're close knit. We're a pretty close family. And
what was your childhood like? What was it?
well, we grew up in a 900 square foot home. So we were just jam-packed in there, and so we had no choice but to play with each other, right? And
Right.
to get to know each other really
Yeah,
well.
sure.
So I grew up just riding my bike and getting dirty, playing in the dirt, and we were pretty poor, but I don't remember knowing that at the time, just
Yeah, it's funny as kids, that's not even an issue. Parents probably worry about that, obviously, but yeah, as kids, you're probably thinking, hey, life's good.
Yeah.
This is,
right?
what's wrong with this?
Yeah. So that, and then I went to junior high school, went to Granite High School in Salt Lake and was pretty involved in sports and student government and dance and all the things that I could. It was a fairly small school at the time and was able to be involved in quite a bit.
Right.
So.
Were you a pretty confident girl growing up, do you think?
I would say that I appeared confident, but deep down inside, there were traumas that happened as a child that we can get to in a minute that caused me to question everything about my existence and myself, my body.
Yeah, and I do want to get into that. The reason why I asked the question is you're involved with a lot of things, and a lot of times that typically means, you're pretty confident in your own skin. You're willing to put yourself out there a little bit, but sometimes that could be a way to cope with some things as well.
Mm-hmm. I see a quote behind you that says, "The bumblebee's wings are too small to fly, but the bumblebee doesn't know that." I kind of relate to that. Like I was maybe didn't have the exact skill set for all the things that I did, but I didn't know that. I saw my older brothers do all of these things, so I was like, well, I'm going to do them too.
Right on.
So I just did them, and that's just what I did. So.
Yeah. So was it tough being with, all the brothers? Were they rough on you? Were they tough on you? Did you have to kind of like stand up for yourself around them?
They were just the right roughness,
Okay.
if that makes sense, but super sweet at the same time. I have so many memories of my brothers self-sacrificing for me and trying to make my upbringing a great one as well. So.
Right. That's great. Well, why don't we just get right into it? And, I know you've gone through some trauma yourself, and you just mentioned that just a minute ago. Why don't you share with us that experience and kind of what you went through, and we'll kind of take it from there.
Okay. So as a child, like I said, I grew up in a wonderful, loving home, and maybe in an area that wasn't the best, but
Mm-hmm.
we had some neighborhood kids come over, and one of them sexually abused me on multiple occasions for kind of an entire summer when I was 10 years old.
Okay. Was he
And
older?
He was older. He
Okay.
was 6 years older.
Gotcha.
6 to 7 years older. And I, after a little bit, I did, it's like my brain deleted the memories of that. I did not remember it. I had triggers that would happen, different songs, different genres of music that would trigger me, but I had no idea what was going on.
Really?
And so that led to, just because I don't have the memory doesn't mean my body doesn't react to it. So that led to a lot of different results of trauma. So eating disorder, your body dysmorphia, disconnecting, things like that kind of lived with me into my adult life.
Right.
And caused me to believe that I didn't have worth and that I wasn't of value and that my body was disgusting. Somehow this experience had made me feel that my body was disgusting.
You know, I hear that a lot, Annie, with a lot of the clients I've worked with in the past who have been through similar things that you have, that the exact word that they felt disgusting.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
I think it's because when something happens at such a young age, when our brain hasn't developed the ability to process through this really appropriately,
right,
that's the only word that we can come up with. So something disgusting happens to me, so I'm disgusting. Somehow we relate that to that's us.
right.
We pinpoint that as that's me.
So as you went through this, you said it went on for a few years, you said?
A summer.
Oh, a summer. Sorry. I apologize. Did anyone know this? Did someone find out that it was happening? Did you end up telling anyone?
No, so a couple of years ago, so obviously I speak about this quite a bit now.
Yeah.
But at the time I didn't tell anybody, and it wasn't until about 5 years ago that I started to put this all together of what had what had happened in relation to other things. And I what was the question?
Well, just trying to figure out, like, did anyone know about it? Did you tell anyone? Did you share that?
So I asked my mom, did I talk to you about it? And she said, all I know is you came to me and said, I am not comfortable with this kid coming over anymore. Can you please tell him not to come over?
Okay.
And so my mom did. She did, and that is how it stopped.
That's how it stopped.
Yeah. So I did not disclose anything to her. I did not tell her. All I asked was for her to stop having him come over.
Right.
So
And you were 10 at the time, is that
yes.
correct? So did your mom try to maybe probe a little bit more on, do you remember, or maybe not? So
not in that conversation, I don't think, but
okay.
I know that was a concern for her. Not with this kid specifically, but I know that in the back of her mind, that was a concern. But in that day and age, it wasn't something that was like, it was so, you just don't talk about it.
Right.
You worry about it, but you don't talk about it, and you hope it doesn't happen.
Right.
But it wasn't this open dialogue that we encourage today.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's kind of turned into one of your passions now, is you're trying to open that dialogue. Is that correct?
That is
so
correct.
You have a nonprofit foundation called #Fly. Tell us what that is and how you came up with this.
So #Fly is a nonprofit that works with women who have experienced trauma, and we work to reconnect the brain to the body. Sometimes trauma can affect women so deeply that their brains disconnect from their bodies in a way that they don't recognize when they look in the mirror or look at pictures of themselves. I think a lot of women think that they don't want to look at pictures of themselves because they think, oh, I don't like what I look like. I don't like that I'm maybe a little bit overweight, or I'm too skinny, or my hair's not done. Yes, that exists.
Right.
But I think a lot of women have a hard time because when they're looking at these pictures, they're not connecting that that's them. They're not connecting. They see and they know it's them. It's not that deep of a disconnect, but it's uncomfortable because they don't recognize themselves. It's not I don't like to see it. It's I don't want to see it.
Oh, wow.
So we do makeovers and photo shoots to help them reconnect in a way that they can look at these pictures in the moment and know that it's them, that they are feeling their their strongest version of themselves,
Okay.
and be able to connect in that way so that they can, it's not all healing. It's a part of their healing. It's a part of the story. Yeah.
No, that's good to know that. And how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for about 5 years.
Right on.
So my journey led me to an abusive marriage, and I was married for 9 years. And when I left that marriage, my brother looked at me and said, I don't recognize you. You are not the sister that I remember. So I'm going to give you a challenge. And he left that day giving me $500 and said, I want you to find yourself with this money. I don't know what that means. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but you need to find yourself with this money. So it sat in my closet for a year. I wanted to make a difference. I wanted to do something with it. And along the way, I did a makeover and photo shoot for myself. I am a makeup artist and I am a photographer. Okay. So these are things that I do a lot.
Sure,
and I wanted to put myself in the position of my client. So I did that. And when I got the pictures back, it shook me to the core. This woman that I was looking at was beautiful. She was so strong and she was confident and she was everything that her entire life people would tell her, but she didn't believe it because she didn't see it. But she saw it that day. So when I got those pictures back, my brother said, hey, I think this is it. Why don't you start doing this for other women that are experiencing what you're experiencing? These are your gifts.
Yeah.
And initially I thought, well, what do I have to give? What do I have to offer? I'm this broken woman who's been through terrible, terrible things. I don't have, all I do is hair and makeup and all I do is pictures, right? Yeah. Well, no, I do hair and makeup and I do pictures. And for heaven's sakes, I'm going to make a difference with my skill set. Wow. So I started doing that and that's where the money went. And it just progressed from there and started into this journey of self-healing and also helping other women recognize what's going on with them. So.
Wow. Well, I could see the emotion behind what you were saying. And obviously you're very passionate about this. What a great brother.
Yes.
I mean, seriously, for your brother to point that out, I mean, that chokes me up, thinking that your brother would notice something that you were off and you were struggling, obviously, and for him to go, hey, here's some money. I don't know what you're going to do with it, but you need to go figure this out.
Yeah.
I mean, and that how he kept kind of pushing you.
And his one of his words were, he said to me, I feel like you're going to get through this with service. And that made me want to curl up in a ball. I didn't know. I mean, service to me at that point was like bringing meals to people, watching people's kids. Well, I had a 1, 3, and 5-year-old that I was 100% responsible for.
Right.
I was poor as dirt, and so I was like, what do I have to offer? And so it was a way of looking within me and finding like, okay, I can serve people in my own way. Right. So anyway.
No, that's beautiful. Well, if we go back to, you said you had this, when you went through it yourself, it started forming these beliefs that you had about yourself that were irrational and negative. One, that you were disgusting, the other was, maybe you weren't good enough. How did that play a part in you growing up, having that belief about you? Talk a little bit about that, because I think so many women, unfortunately, who've gone through that feel that same way or believe that.
Well, so when the physical abuse stops, there's this cloud over our own heads, this cloud of abuse that we do to ourselves, and it's this negative cycle talk that continues, and it prevented me from truly becoming, I feel, who I could have at the time. It made me feel like, well, we can talk about dating. I didn't have the confidence to go after guys that would actually treat me well. I didn't have the confidence to try out for specific parts because I felt I'm not good enough. Right. I'm going to be shut down, and it's kind of like this pause that I have to take where it's like, okay, is this real or is this the negative talk? And so I've had to develop that over the years and how to navigate that, because it's tricky.
So is that something you figured out on your own, or did you go through any type of therapy, or did you have someone helping you?
I did. I went through an addiction specialist program because my ex-husband had an addiction. And so I needed to understand what he went through to understand what he did to me. Mm-hmm. So that was crucial because it allowed me to also look within me and figure out, okay, so I have an addiction to food. and it's a result of all of this, right?
Right.
And so I don't know, like, how am I channeling my pain and where am I putting it instead of actually processing through it? So I did a lot of therapy to kind of help me, but it's interesting because I feel like now that I know a lot of the journey that you should take, I kind of came up with it on my own, and I did this on my own as well. And it just happened to be that it was the right things to do, right?
Wow, that's powerful. You know, we often hear, especially now, it's kind of like popular to say all our answers are within us. And it's as if you almost tapped into what you kind of instinctively already knew.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Because I think we instinctively know that despite what we've gone through, it doesn't mean somehow we're bad or, you know, to use the word you use, disgusting or things like that. I get why we feel that way, especially when we've gone through something traumatic. But the truth of the matter is that ultimately there's really nothing wrong because of what we went through. Right?
Yeah.
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 So how has it been dealing with your clients that you've been working with over the last 5 years at hashtag Fly?
So the very first session that I did, I went home and she had been out of her relationship that she left for a year. And she was so amazingly strong. And I thought, okay, here I am. I got connected with her through a shelter. And so I met with her and I thought, how am I supposed to help her? I felt so weak. I felt like I cannot do this. But the more I did and the more I saw my ability to connect and help with them and their ability to connect with me and find strength within themselves. And it's been amazing. I have had women collapse in my arms after seeing the back of my camera, just a little unedited. I don't edit much. Like there's no need to get rid of the beauty that we are. Right. And they collapse in my arms and they say like, I've never seen myself in this light before. Thank you for showing me myself.
Right.
And a lot of the women too have experienced abuse that have been with makeup and photography. So it can be a triggering thing, but I encourage them to trust me. Yeah. That they can open up and be safe and feel safe with me.
Yeah.
And that I'm not trying to paint a face on them that is different from what they are. I'm trying to pull out of them what I see, the strongest version of them, so that they can see that. The other thing that this provides for them is instead of looking at people in the media and scrolling Instagram and thinking, I want to look like her, I want to be like her, this gives them an image of themselves that they can look to and be, I want to look like her and I want to feel like her every day. It's them and they want to feel like that every day. So
wow, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Man, I can imagine some of the experiences that you've had there. You know, what has been your toughest, I guess, challenge with this new foundation that you're doing? What's been some of the tough challenges that you have faced because of this?
Well, the reality is that I'm a survivor and I get triggered. So I have to be on my A game so often. And here's the thing, I did all the healing that I could and I thought, man, I am whole. And then I got remarried. And it's a whole new ball game and it's a whole new set of things that I've needed to work on and heal. And so as I think the hardest part is to just make sure that I don't take home and absorb what I'm experiencing at work when I am working on these photo shoots, and making sure that I am doing my dailies and doing all the things that I need to be the strongest version of myself so that I can represent myself in a way that can be helpful and give.
Yeah. I can imagine hearing some of these stories brings you right back to what you went through, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you ever had a moment where you did break down with a client, just because it was so real and raw to you?
Yes. So I have been lucky enough to find people to work with me that understand also.
Right.
And so it's almost this unspoken, like I can look at her and she can know you need a break. So I'll go into the back room, I'll shed a few tears, I'll take a break, and I'll acknowledge and recognize what I'm feeling. Yeah. Take a breath and then walk back out. Like that's, if I try to fight it, it gets worse. If I don't want to have a complete breakdown, but.
Well, you bring something up that's, I think, is very important. You mentioned you acknowledge what's going on. Explain that and why that's so important and critical in moving forward.
Well, if I deny the fact that I'm human and that I have these
Right,
emotions and these
right.
feelings, that's what happens when we have these feelings come up and these emotions, whether they're rational or not, that doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's real to me in the moment. So
Right.
I need to recognize that it's there, acknowledge that I'm human and that's why it's happening, tell myself that I'm safe, make sure that I'm okay, and then let it go.
Wow.
If I don't do that, it builds up, it builds up, it builds up, and then I explode.
I love those steps, basically, what
Right.
for someone to do. Is that something you learned on your own?
It is, yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah, because, I would think that that's probably something that's also taught as well,
It is. And later when I did go through therapy, the addiction therapy,
Okay.
right? When you have an addictive thought come
Yep,
in, you
yep.
have to recognize and acknowledge and, let it go. That's
Yeah,
the same with triggers.
Yeah, we do the same thing here.
Yeah.
So, no, that's powerful.
Yeah.
So, you said you went through a really abusive, was it a marriage that you were in?
Mm-hmm.
Give us just a little background on that. You don't have to go on the details there, but how was that, and knowing what you'd gone through, and how did you get out of it?
So I had this checklist when I was younger of all the things that I wanted in a man, right?
Right.
And this man fit all of the check marks. And in our marriage, as it progressed, I didn't know about an addiction that he had. It was to pornography, and it altered his brain as we progressed in our marriage.
Okay.
And he started suffering from anxiety and depression, and that was taken out on me.
On you. Oh,
And we did not, we were not able to work through it. And it turned from, he was physical with another woman, so it was infidelity, but also it turned physically abusive to me, where I was unsafe. My life
Okay.
was in danger.
Wow.
And it took, even though all of these things happened, it was, in the beginning I thought, if he ever hit me, then I'm gone. Like
Right.
that's my line,
That's the
right?
line, yeah.
That's just the typical thing. And then
Sure.
it happened. And it was almost like I was so weak that I would justify every behavior that I saw in him.
Yeah.
And
That's pretty common too. I think when someone's stuck in an abusive relationship, you feel weak, or you believe you're weak, and you just kind of justify it away almost.
right. Well,
right?
and he had also made me believe that I was
Okay.
this weak person that
Sure.
that needed him, that was so reliant on him for my existence that I couldn't function without him.
Without him.
Right. So, and that he was the best I could do. I was from a poor area that I had been rescued by him. Right.
Okay.
So it took me a while there was a moment I recognized that somebody was lying. He was telling me lies about myself, and then I was getting compliments from everybody else in my life that I was an amazingly strong woman
Right.
that could make a difference in this world, and he was telling me, you cannot make a difference in this world because you are weak and you have nothing to offer.
Wow.
These are exact words that he would say.
Wow.
So I sat down and thought, somebody is lying. Either all of these people in my life are lying or he is.
Yeah.
And it was this aha moment of, oh my goodness, he is lying to me. He is destroying me, and he is abusing me.
Man.
And at that moment, it was like I had to analyze what to do. After finding out about the infidelity, I did ask him to leave for a bit, but
Right.
didn't have divorce on my mind.
Right.
But after those 3 months, I could tell when he moved back in that he hadn't done the work, and our family wasn't a priority for him to save. And so I made the decision to leave, and I did. And I have not looked back because of how much effort I put in to trying to make that work.
Right.
So,
Wow. That's tough to hear. It's probably hard to even talk about it, but to have someone tell you that you're all these negative things, and while you're going through it, believing it on some level.
yes.
Right?
To my core. I totally
To your
did.
core, yeah. And when you look back on it now, you probably go, why did I start believing that stuff,
Right.
But again, when you're in the middle of it, it's hard to kind of see beyond that. Is that correct?
It is. And what happens is it's not just like right, like if he would have said that right away, I would have been like, okay, see ya.
Yeah, right.
But over the years, you get
Just
broken
over time.
down, and there's gaslighting involved, and you just don't even know what's left and what's right, what's up and what's down. You don't know. You question everything about yourself,
Yeah.
your opinions, your beliefs, everything, because you don't know. This
Yeah.
person has been telling you different for so long.
Yeah.
So it took me a long time to rewire that. And there are even times today when I'll have to make a phone call to somebody and be like, okay, I need you to walk me through this because this is what I was told and believed
Yeah.
for all these years. And this is what I think. So help me decide. Help me
Yeah.
figure this
Help
out.
me figure it out.
Yeah.
Right. Well, you mentioned a term, and I think this is very common with people who abuse, is you said gaslighting.
Correct.
Can you explain to our listeners what that is?
Yeah, so it stems from a movie that was made back in the day where an abusive man, he has a gaslight on and lives with a woman, and each day he dims it just a bit, and she says, "Is the light dimming?" And he's like, "No, you're losing your mind. Like the light's just fine." And he'll dim it even more. And then she's like, I really think that we're losing light. And he's like, "No, we're not. You are making this up. Why do you keep bringing this up? This is so, you're crazy." So it's things where when we catch somebody in a lie, they try to twist all of the truth and make us feel like we're actually the ones that are crazy and making it up, that we are so
Okay.
worrisome that
Right.
we're the crazy one.
Yeah.
So there's something wrong with us.
And that's pretty common with women who are being abused, correct?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like you said, you were buying into these things that were being told, but then when you had your friends and family going, "No, you're this, this, and this," and you're going, "Okay, who's lying?"
Yeah.
And that was almost like when you had that aha moment. You're like, "Okay, I'm now seeing it for what it is."
Right. Yeah.
But I would imagine those beliefs still lingered on for a little while.
Oh yeah. And even still
Even
today.
still today.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So how do you deal with it when you have those thoughts again? Is it as simple as what you said before? You acknowledge it, you refuse it basically and say, "No, I know that's not me and I'm not going to buy into that," kind of thing?
Yes, I'm pretty self-aware. Now that doesn't mean I have all of the control in the world, but I'm self-aware. Right. So even when I'm triggered and going through all of these emotions and I have this, this thing that I'm trying to work through, I can be highly emotional about it and at the same time know it's irrational. So I can feel all the emotions, but also take a step back and think, okay, where did this stem from? Why is it happening? And how do I get through it? I've done so much work that it's just second nature to me now that I'm able to do that. But that's years and years and years of work on it. Yes, but I mean that's my everyday life. That's what I have to live with right now. And yeah.
Well, it's like we go back to what your brother said. This is your gift. All these hard things is opened up for you to do this, and here you are working. You have to work hard at this, correct?
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
But because of that extra work and that extra effort you're putting in, it ends up being your strength almost.
Exactly.
Again, that's why you're so good at your nonprofit, that you get to help these women and they can relate with you.
Mm-hmm.
They just go, "Man, this woman's been in my shoes."
Right. It's almost like somebody finally gets me. Somebody finally gets me without words. They can just look in my eyes and see, like, they're on the same level as me, right?
Yeah.
And the other day, my husband and I were driving, and we were talking. We've been married 3.5 years.
Okay.
And he said, "What would our lives be like if we had met in college or something like that?"
Yeah.
And there was this moment of, don't you dare take this away from me. It wasn't like, "Oh, I'm so thankful." It was, "Don't you dare take my depth from me. Don't you dare take my awareness away from me."
Wow.
And it was an interesting reaction.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. Of course, I would have loved to have been married to him for all of these years and have all of our children together and all of those things. But instead, it was like, no, I have worked so hard to become the person that I am.
Right.
And yes, I have moments of weakness and all of those things, but I'm a much different person than I was.
Wow. Well, with that said, here's a tough question, but I think I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to ask it anyways.
Okay.
With that said, would you change anything?
I would not change anything. I genuinely feel like I have done the best that I could, in every situation
Right.
given to me. And
Yeah.
so because of that, I've lived with no regrets. Questions sometimes,
Sure,
you know,
yeah.
but no regrets. So I would not change anything.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
And I knew that that's what you were going to say,
Right.
but I want our listeners to hear this, because think about it. We're all struggling on some level, or we've been through some stuff, every single person on the planet, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think our listeners who are hearing this, I want them to hear that message, that if you're currently going through something really, really difficult, remember that one day you will look back and go, I wouldn't change it
Mm-hmm.
because of what you're saying, Annie,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
Yeah. So now, I mean, you're a mom,
Mhm.
you have kids. I would assume do you have daughters?
I do.
Yeah. So going through this, and now you have your own children, what are some things that you have taught them, or some guidance that you have given them as you're raising them, to maybe help them with the experiences you've been through?
So from the beginning, I've tried really hard to have an open dialogue about our bodies, about
Okay.
healthy sexuality, about safe places that we can talk, that I'm a safe place.
Okay.
And
Love that.
I have worked really hard to help them understand what is okay, that they have a voice, that they can say, no, this doesn't make me feel good, or different things
Yeah.
like that, so that if something does happen to them as a child, that they can voice that. It's been interesting bringing in stepchildren. I have 2 stepdaughters, and I didn't have the option to talk with them as little girls about these things, and so
Yeah.
we're jumping right into all of this.
Right.
One of them as a teenager,
Yeah.
and it's like she's used to it now, but I think the very first conversation, it was like, oh my.
Yeah.
And it's like, look, this is what I do, and this is how I work. So you just need to get comfortable with it.
Just
start
get
talking.
right.
So now I think that she understands and appreciates, I would say,
Yeah.
that. But I had, because of negative beliefs that I had about my body,
Mhm.
I think it prevented my intimacy in my marriage. And
Sure.
I think, there's so many things that are connected to all of this. And if I can help them in some way, I know I can't prevent everything. And I'm
Right.
not going to prevent all of their sufferings that are going to happen. And in 20 years, we're going to look back, before it was, and we didn't talk about any of this. And
Right.
is it going to be, oh my gosh, we talked about everything. That was way too much information. We don't know.
Right.
We're just doing our best.
Yeah.
But that's what I try
Well,
to do.
a couple things I love what you said. One is that there's people and places that are safe.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, I'm safe, right? I think that's a critical thing to teach our children, that you need to surround yourself, or at least know where people who you can go to that are safe, right? Did you find that was an important part of this whole thing?
Yes, I did. And building a network around us is really important. When people approach me with a desire to leave a marriage, I'm not a divorce coach, and that is not my intent, is to separate
Right.
people. But there
Right.
are times when it needs to happen.
Sure.
The first thing I say is you need to talk to people in your life. You need to form a network of people that know what you're going through. So pick 2 to 3 people. Let's discuss who it can be. And sometimes it's mom, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's mother-in-law, sometimes it's not. Sometimes
Right.
it's sister, sometimes it's friend, religious leader. There are people in our life that are safe. And we need to find those and form a network. And just as you were saying, teaching my children who is safe and who is unsafe, who
Yeah.
makes them feel safe inside, and
Yeah.
what does that feel like? Learn how
Yeah.
to recognize and acknowledge what they're feeling
Ooh,
inside.
That's powerful. And the other thing I think that you mentioned and you're doing with your children is communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're actually talking about some hard things
Right.
with children, right?
Mm-hmm.
That to me seems like it's got to be one of the most critical things to do, because it'd be easy to let's don't talk about it. Just, because it's a heavy thing, right?
Yeah.
But you, because of what you've been through, probably no, we're talking about these things,
Yes.
like you said earlier, right?
Yes. My husband didn't come from a very open communication
Right.
marriage previously. So that wasn't something that he's very used to. And I laugh because I mean, I talk through everything. The moment I realize I need to talk, it's like, hey, let's talk.
Right.
And so he's so used to it now. But in the beginning, it was just like, oh my goodness. And my stepson the other day, he did something and we needed to talk about it. And he's like, oh, another one of Annie's speeches. And I was like, oh, good. That he knows this is coming.
He knows it's
right?
coming. Now he knows what to expect,
Yeah.
right? No, I think that's fantastic. I think communicating is one of the keys in all of this. Because again, I think if your children know they can come to mom with, hey, mom's told me about this stuff, but now I'm kind of experienced or I've seen something that's off, I know I can go to mom now. Because
Right.
it's out on the table.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Have you had any, experiences with any of your children where they've, because of these tough conversations, maybe not with abuse or anything, but that they've been more open to you?
Yes, there has been. One of my children had a friend that was abused, called her right away. And so my daughter was able to come to me.
Oh,
right.
wow.
And not only was I able to help her process through things, it was, I was able to kind of help her know how to help her friend in a way, because she was put in that position of helper at that point.
Right.
And so there have been moments, rewards of this open line of communication that we formed. So,
And that's powerful.
yeah. And another daughter, she's so open in a way that I'm like, okay, not too much, but maybe we need to like set some boundaries on like what we say and when and
sure.
things like that. But I'm like, I'd rather that than
not say anything.
yeah.
Right?
I question, like, had I said something earlier about the abuse when I was a child, would I have been able to work through that to prevent me from feeling all of those things and change the direction of my life? I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
But if I can do that for my child, I would love to.
Yeah.
So,
Wow, that's awesome. Well, what does a day look like for you? Like, how do you keep yourself, feeling good, positive? I mean, I know we all have our moments, right, where we're not feeling good and this and that, but so what does your day look like? How do you keep yourself, what are the things you do to make yourself
I have
centered, I guess?
checklists and
Okay.
schedules that
Okay.
I live by, regimens, dailies. I know if I do self-care. I know if I connect with my higher power. And I know if I am making an effort in certain ways every single day, that my day is going to go better than it would have.
Right.
It's not going to be perfect.
Right.
And I'm still going to struggle with some things, but if I do these things every day, that my life and my day will be better. So
Yeah, I love it. Good advice for all of us, right?
Yeah.
To do those kind of things. So, if people wanted to reach out to you, well, before we get there, actually, I'm going to do this. If there's someone listening to this right now who's struggling, who has been through some trauma and abuse, they haven't really dealt with it, or they might be going through it currently as they're hearing this story from you, Annie, what's some advice that you could give them that could maybe help them maybe either get out of it or seek the help that they need?
the first thing, there's two things. The first thing that I would say is look up some of these terms that we've used today.
Yeah.
Gaslighting, abuse, how to tell if I'm in an abusive marriage, things like that.
Yeah.
And make sure you're aware of what situation you actually are in.
Yeah.
The second thing is, if you find yourself struggling when you look in the mirror or when you look at pictures of yourself, the first step to seeing yourself in that light would be to look in the mirror and not say anything positive or anything negative about yourself. Just look in the mirror and say, there I am. There I am. I exist.
Wow.
If we try to
Love
fill
that.
our brains with things that we don't actually believe right now, in the moment when we're struggling,
Yeah.
like, I am beautiful. I have beautiful eyes. In the moment, I don't believe those things about myself. No way. I'm lying to myself. So if I just simply say, I exist, there I am, and study my face, get to know my face.
Yeah.
That's the first step, I think, in reconnecting our brain to our body.
Yeah.
So
Wow, I love that. So I wanted to, I was doing some research, and I was looking on the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got all kinds of statistics on there. But one that blew my mind, that was 24 people per minute are victims of rape or physical violence.
Yes.
So if you break that down, that's 12 million men and women over the course of a year that are being raped or physically abused. And I was blown away I know it happens, but I didn't realize that much. That was an eye-opener. And you probably knew these statistics as well.
Right.
But I think your story, unfortunately, is very common.
It is. Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's probably why you do what you do, because you want to make a difference, right?
I suffered in silence for a long time. So yeah, I want to bring a voice to this.
Wow. I love that. And that's why we're doing this podcast today, because I want people to hear your voice and hear your story and hear what you're doing. If people wanted to reach out to you and they want to know more, and they want to know more about #Fly and how they can be involved, or if they just want to come seek and have your services, the what do you call it? The makeovers and the photo shoots, and
Right.
they want to do that because they've been through something. What's the best way for them to do that?
So #Fly, it's the word spelt out hashtag. So #fly.org is our
Okay.
website. And then #Fly_. We have a little baby Instagram page that we're just getting going. And so you can message on there or send, you can communicate through the website. So those would be the two ways.
That'd be the best way. Great. And then obviously if they reach out to me or someone, I'll obviously pass them along to Annie. And, I can't thank you enough for being willing to sit down with us for a minute here and share your story and kind of what you've been through. And I'm grateful for people like you who are out trying to make a difference. One of my things that I say a lot to my clients, that adversity or addiction, but we'll use adversity here, is your wake-up call to your greatness. And going back to what your brother said, and again, I'm just blown away at your brother right now, who said, hey, these are your gifts. Let's do this. You should do this for good. And I'm just grateful that this is what you're doing now and you're making a difference out there.
Thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to spread the awareness and bring this taboo topic to the surface.
Yeah, absolutely. No. Well, there you go, folks. Annie Smith, thank you for joining us. Please reach out to her. Please, if you're struggling or you've been through it, she's someone that understands in a way that she will talk to you, and she's real, as you can tell. She's real and raw, and I think that's what makes her great. And so please reach out to her. Again, I want to thank all of you for believing in me and listening to this Belief Cast week after week after week, man. We're cruising along. We got so many followers. It just blows my mind. And I'm grateful that a lot of people are going to hear Annie's story today. So thank you for joining us. And once again, Annie, thank you for taking the time to be with us today.
Absolutely. No problem.
Thank you.